Well, Britannia in general is to keep Gibraltar clean, and to do that we have different schedules in terms of sweeping, flushing, collection of recycling, etc. So our workforce, some come in to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, some come in to work at 6, and some come to work in at 7 o'clock. The whole point of that is to give a lot of emphasis and push into the cleaning most areas, so that when the general public is out and about, most of the rubbish has been tackled. And also at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's a lot more productive for us to be flushing and scrubbing certain areas than when we have to do it during the course of the morning with lots of passers-by, making the job a bit more difficult.
So explain to me how often you do certain areas. So for example, if I said, let's say Main Street or the South District, I mean, how often will you clean those areas?
Well, when you say clean, again, there's two facets of cleaning. There are schedules that we have in terms of road sweeping that are daily. So for example, Main Street, all the ancillary lanes in Main Street will be daily. There are other areas outside the city centre that might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Other areas are daily Monday to Saturday. And then there are other areas that require less sweeping. That was all in the schedules that were handed on to us. And we complete those to the letter. In terms of flushing we also have schedules, but we find that the schedules are not maybe sufficient because of certain practices. So for example, let's say North Mall Road is a monthly flush, but we do it every Monday. If there is a bank holiday on the Monday, we strive to do it every Tuesday. If we flush it on a Monday, you might go on a Thursday or a Friday and you think we haven't flushed there in 4 or 5 days or even a couple of weeks. But we do it, and that is why we set up a Facebook page in February to reflect the hard work that we do and the deterioration of an area, where we post a photo saying this is how we found it, this is us cleaning it, this is how we've left it, and look at it 5 or 6 days later.
Well, you say certain practices. Let's talk about dog urine, which has got to be a big challenge for you now. People are legally required to carry a bottle with some detergent on them and squirt it whenever their dog does urine in the street or wherever. Do you find that helps?
Well, firstly, we thank every responsible dog owner for actually putting some liquid onto the dog urine. Dog owners are not irresponsible, because, for example, dog poo for us is less of an issue than dog urine, which reflects the fact that they actually, most of them, pick up the poo after them. They might leave a little stain, but they have removed the excrement.
There's still quite a lot who leave dog poo behind as well.
But it's not as much a problem for us to tackle that as the dog urine, because the dog urine, a responsible dog owner might use that liquid, as you say, and squirt it where the urine is, but that clearly is not enough. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any criticism on social media regarding dog urine. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't think it's an issue with the dog owners. The issue is that Gibraltar is very small. I think that there are, I've been told, over 5,000 dogs. So in heavily populated, dense areas, you have lots of dogs coming out. If you bear in mind 5,000, they might urinate 3 times a day. That's 15,000 urine stains. Male dogs will also mark the territory and urinate where they smell another male dog's urine. So when you walk a pavement and you see a long pavement, the pavement might be generally clean, but when you look at lampposts, plant pots, benches, and you look at fences where dogs particularly urinate, they'll be marked. And when you have an accumulation of urine and urine stains there, it becomes dark. So what we do is, in some areas we increase the flushing. When our flushing machines and operations, because we've got so many, are all committed elsewhere, we have our employees use a bit of salt water, which we have to be careful with so that we don't damage the vehicles. They scrub it hard.
Do you use detergent as well?
We do use cleaning products. We have a variety of cleaning products.
But if I put to you the fact that you will walk along certain roads and smell that urine, that's suggestive that perhaps more flushing and washing needs to be done. Would you agree with that?
If that is the solution, if that is the only solution to dealing with the number of dogs that we have, then that is, I think, something that I think you need to ask the policy makers. What I can tell you is that it's one of the struggles we have, but we have other struggles as well.
Right. And you have obviously your schedule. You need to stick to the schedule that came with your contract, and that's what you do. To increase cleaning and flushing, that's a matter of perhaps negotiating with the government, would it be, to sort of increase what you need to do?
I think it would be unfair for me to comment. The reason why is that when I look at the cleansing issue, to give you an example, the dog urine, there are others, I look at it with a perspective of just purely cleaning. I would imagine that the government officials, when they look at it, they have a wider perspective of how it affects other operations, costs, etc. So I don't think it would be fair for me to comment on that.
Okay, let me just ask you about other challenges that Britannia faces, because a lot of it is down to human behaviour, and some of that behaviour should not be happening. So what are the challenges that you have to deal with that you really shouldn't have to deal with?
Right, well, one of these is fly tipping. I'm sure you've looked at our Facebook page, and we have loads of photos there of massive accumulations where somebody is refurbishing his property, and they can spend £10,000 on a kitchen, but they don't spend £50 or £60 in having a company remove what they discarded, and they put the furniture on the public pavement. So what we have to do is obviously remove it, because it's an eyesore and it could potentially be a health hazard. So we've got crews going around Gibraltar removing that. That's one of the challenges, because it's all around Gibraltar. We also have construction companies that sometimes don't dispose of it as they should and leave construction rubble in certain places. We have plastic bags that are left around Gibraltar. One of the problems we have in Main Street is that they will place plastic bags at odd times during the evening and at night. So the refuse collectors might have already done their job and it's placed there, it's left there for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. They're oily bags because they contain oily substances, so they stain the pavement. Oil stains in Main Street with the paving is not easy to remove, and sometimes you have to redo it once, twice, 3 times a day. So all those things make it more challenging for us. There are others, but obviously we have certain time here.
Are there particular areas in Gibraltar that you find are particularly bad to be cleaned?
The areas are where the big housing develops and residential estates, where there are lots of people living, and if those people don't have good practices, dogs, litter, some people don't even bother to going into the bedroom. They leave the plastic bag outside with the obvious consequences that brings about. You have litter scattered all around there, and the first thing people think is they are not cleaning. Okay, the bag has been left there, we've cleaned there an hour before, and now there's litter all over this area. No? So those are the things that I think we need to change, and also some attitudes. The minority of people, but some attitudes. I can quote you because I've been there. We've had one of our employees tell a teenager, look, there's a bin there, you've just thrown a can of Coke, and why didn't you throw it in the bin? And the response, I quote, is, pa eso tatu, pa limpiar. Some others were flushing a pavement. We haven't even finished flushing the pavement, and we already have somebody, or more than one people with dogs urinating. And we tell them, can you move to another area? We've just finished cleaning here. Si yo no, mi perro tiene que mear, y si no, tú no tienes trabajo. Along those lines, no? And simple things like, it doesn't comprehend for me. Why would you take your dog with the possibility that dog is going to urinate outside the school gates? Surely there is another place which is less prominent for you to take your dog, and it can do its business there. But these again are, I would hope, the minority of people. But if people, what they want is an improvement, because Gibraltar is not dirty. And I've been around and I've seen other cities, etc., and I've seen much worse. And they're not as small, as condensed, with mixed use. They don't have the number of dogs that we have. But we can be cleaner. We can be cleaner, but it's a collective effort. We need a change of collective consciousness. We need to be more responsible, more accountable.
But what do you say to those who say, look, Britannia have been awarded a 5-year contract, £5.6 million, and they want to walk along the streets and see that it's clean? Do you think that the public are getting value for money with Britannia?
Well, I always have to respect public opinion. I may not agree with it, but we have to respect it. What I can tell the general public is that we work very hard. I have to praise my workforce. It's over 150 people. As I said, people are sleeping at home. We work 365 days a year. We work on Christmas Day, New Year's Day, public holidays. They wake up at 4 to start work at 5 or 6 in the morning, and we work really hard. It's soul destroying when we get unjust criticism with all the hard work that we do. This is primarily why we set up the Facebook page, because a photo or an image is worth 1,000 words. If we show Gibraltar how much we clean, how often we clean, and how it deteriorates, then Gibraltar has to make a view of, I think the problem is not just cleaning, I think there are wider issues, and I think a mature conversation needs to be had.